So the Drew Figlow, he brought these for us. They're kind of like a fanboy thing because Rogan always talks about them, but they're from this guy who just works out nonstop. He's shredded. His name is Juju Mufu, but
kind of like John Ott.
These are John Ott's just massive, but these things are so fucking strong. Just smell the bag. The bottle is sealed. Are you ready for this? Dive in there, big boy. There's a recovery time.
Oh, damn. Put that fucking lid on, bro. Oh, that one's stronger than the wake the fuck up one.
Yeah, that's why I want to get John back on to be like, hey, dude, let's have a smell off.
Yeah, I think that would probably win, dude.
Yeah.
Because that's stronger than a fresh one.
Oh, dude.
That's stronger than a fresh one of his.
Pull this sucker right up. Yeah, as close as you can to your mouth. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you might have to lean in a bit.
Lean in a bit.
Chris.
What's up, man?
Thank you for doing this. Seriously, I appreciate you taking time to do this.
My pleasure.
You are incredible. I'm not lying, man. Dude, your commitment to martial arts is I love martial arts and I've been doing it for over 10 years, but dude, you are an everyday show up. Every single day you show up. You run your own academy, Taekwondo karate. Kenpo Karate. Every day you show up. Dude, you've brought a lot of people from your gym over.
For sure.
How the hell did you get into martial arts, dude?
Well, I'd say like in somewhere around 1999 or 98, something like that.
Sorry, you're good. I forgot if I shut the window or not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, somewhere around that time, around Westport, that's where we used to, tromps around back in those days. And there was a Kenpo school, which is kind of funny. It's where the Jiu Jitsu school is now. But there was a Kenpo school there. It had been there forever, as far as I knew. It had been there for as long as I ever had been around. And I do remember they had the sidewalk back then was all fucked up, right? So, like, in front of the school, the sidewalk kind of had like a split because, like, some big tree was probably growing underneath it or some shit like that. And I used to ride my skateboard. I'd always ride my skateboard by that school, and I always, take that jump. It was just, I always remember that jump. But how I kind of got into martial arts is, honestly, one day, this dude I was playing in a band with, we were like at this coffee shop, and he like just did like these martial arts moves. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. I was like, what the fuck? That was fucking cool, man. You know what I mean? It was just like you just saw this motherfucker move, and I was like, Jesus.
Was he doing some striking stuff? Or?
Yeah, he was doing, I mean, I didn't know what he was doing at the time, but what he was doing was like a form or a kata, right? And it was just cool as fuck, dude. I was like, and one day I was like riding my skateboard down that fucking shit, and I like jumped over that thing, and I just stopped. And I just walked in there. I was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing in here?" Dude, this place smelled like a jock strap. It smelled so bad. It smelled like feet. And there was like, dudes over in the corner fucking like blasting the bag and shit, They had like this big long, like those big long bags like at Rudy's gym. except that they had this one, it went all the way to the ground. So it touched the ground and was pretty much up to the ceiling. It was this huge fucking, they called it a banana bag. I don't fucking know.
Almost like a tie bag, though.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. And I always remember, these fucking people just blasting this thing. And it's like, oh, this fucking place is intense. It was all black and red. Like black and red. It was just like, damn. And they're like, all right, yeah, you want to try it out? So, they let me try it out. They brought me back in the office. And there's like this big ass, I mean, it's just nasty. I just always remember how nasty it was, man. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And I just fucking showed up every day. I don't know, man. Like, it just happened. I just showed up every day, and 20 years went by.
What was the gym called back then?
It was called AKKA Karate. I think it was, it's, honestly, I think it was like American Kenpo Karate Academies, which was, I later found out it was kind of a spawn of a organization called Traco, which kind of goes back to this like late 60s, like maybe 1968 or 9 or something like that. It was a Kenpo boxing judo gym, right? Like in the late 60s and through the 70s. And at some point in the late 80s, whoever well, I know who it was, but the guy who ran that place, Tom Connor, he passed away, and another guy, Bill Packer, took over the organization and turned it into AKKA. So that's, just brief kind of history about where that comes from. But Bill Packer was one of those pretty badass martial arts dudes back in the 70s. He trained a lot of really good fighters, the kickboxers and, those dudes like that. So, I don't know. I just fucking just like to train, so I just kept showing up.
How old were you when you walked into that gym after the coffee shop?
Probably been, I'm gonna guess, 20, 21ish, 2021, something like that.
Had you trained any martial arts up until that point?
No, I played sports, baseball, basketball, football. I was always an athlete, growing up. But rode my skateboard around. I was always doing shit, but I never. No, maybe always wanted to, just never lined up, I guess.
Do you feel like the first art you did was striking then? Do you feel like you were kind of natural? For instance, like one thing that I can do well, and I hate talking about myself, but I think it's important to kind of describe what I'm asking you, is I always knew that I had an upper hand throwing leg kicks because I'd always thrown them in my basement. I was never a puncher ever.
Yeah.
But I always kicked. Did you practice stuff at your house? Had you been exposed to it at all? Were you big into old karate films?
I guess back in the day, yeah, we had I had a friend, like, this would have been when before I would have been 12. So, like, back in the 80s, there was a friend lived down, I don't even remember this guy's name, but his dad was a big boxer, and they had a boxing gym set up in the backyard, and his dad would, like, glove us up and let us go back there and pound each other. I do remember that was pretty fun.
Did you feel like you had an upper hand as soon as you started, or did it take a while for you to be able to hang with some of those guys at AKKA?
I mean, I was good. I would say it took a while. You know how it is. I mean, there's some, just like anything, there's a broad spectrum of people. So, some people just not good athletically. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they just don't have the thing, it's much harder for them, at least. Yeah, sure, those people have always been easy, but there's nothing fun about that. I would say it did take me a while, maybe partly because of the method of training. I think I kind of took a long route to getting to the point of putting it all together. It took quite a bit of kickboxing, getting punched in the head and stuff like that. But also studying the martial arts system that I learned over and over and over again, for me to kind of put some things together, if you will.
Were you a pretty aggressive individual, would you say, as a kid or in high school? Did you ever get in fights?
No, I didn't really get in fights. I've always been a gamer. I always want to play. I always want to fucking,
Yeah.
I love to throw down. Just we'd never been a fighter. It
I
always
was the
been
same
in
way.
basketball, ping pong, whatever. What's the game? Let's go.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, that's just how I was raised, I guess. Or I've never known any different. You know what I'm saying?
Did you said you grew up in Kansas City?
Yeah, I grew up around Kansas City, Blue Springs.
Um, it's pretty surreal, I guess. So for people that may not have caught it, the gym that both you and I train at currently, Rudy Bear's Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and MMA,
Uh-huh.
is in Westport, and it is the same school that you began your martial arts journey in '98.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, the same
The
building.
physical
Yeah.
building
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
same.
For sure.
And you met Rudy Bears
I
at
met
that
him.
school?
Yeah, I met him. He was ahead of me, right? So I want to say like he would have been like probably a brown belt or something by the time I would have showed up. So I met him, and knew him. He was, of course,
Brown belt in karate.
yeah, he was a brown belt there, and you know, he was known in the school, because he was one of the really good kickboxers, So, he had a reputation, and soon after I started, I don't know what degree black belt would have gotten to. I want to say second degree, but I'm sure he'd tell you which one and what years. This would have been maybe a little after '98, but he went off to MMA fight for all I know. I didn't really know. We weren't like buds or anything like that. I just kind of knew of him.
Was it when you reconnected to jiu-jitsu, how did that work?
Well, okay, so this is kind of the end of a long story, to be quite honest, if you really want to know.
Yeah, and then we'll circle back because I want to know about your schools.
So I guess it would have been a little after COVID or whatever. That school, that AKK school, like didn't survive, or I don't know what happened, but it closed down. And I remember driving by it, and I was like, "Fuck, man! People been banging in there since '71, dude. Like the history, like, and I was a part of that history too. Maybe not a huge part, but I was definitely a part of that history. It's like crazy, man. They're gonna what's that gonna turn into? And I actually I have a student. He's kind of one of those like wheeling, dealing, selling property type guys. Like he's a real young guy, and he just like knows that game, right? And I'm like, hey, bro, let's get that building. If we get that building, dude, like, we could do something in that building. I would love to get that building and keep it a martial arts school, and actually, kind of do it differently than where I do my school, which is like we gotta make some money.
Right.
We gotta.
We have to keep the doors
Yeah,
open.
we gotta
It's
keep.
a very
Well,
real.
I know because I've kept the doors open there. It's not. It's stressful because it's an expensive thing to run at that level. So, man, he tried. He was like, man, I don't usually. Usually there's something you can say to get a guy to sell, and I kind of would figure he wasn't gonna sell. I knew it was like a family. It was like third generation that owned the building, and his grandfather was, handshake agreements with Tom Connor, some old, gentlemanly stuff that had actually made it to my generation, So I was like, yeah, he's not gonna sell that damn building. Why would he? And then one day I was driving by and I seen this sign And it said, coming soon, Rudy Bear's Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And I'm like, Rudy Bears? What the fuck, dude? Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? What the hell is he? What is this? And I just pulled over, walked in the door, and he was like working on putting the mat thing around, like building that little part. And I'm like, what's up, dude? I introduced myself. He probably didn't recognize me or remember me or anything, but we kind of figured out, oh, okay, yeah. And I'm like, hey, man, I guess I want to do jujitsu now. I was like, I wanted to keep this place. There was something about it. I wanted to keep this place a martial arts school. So I'm like, fucking sign me up, I guess. And he's like, you ever done jujitsu? And I'm like, well, at a very basic level. You know what I mean? I've been teaching martial arts my whole life. So yeah, I've done a little jujitsu, but never actually tried to learn jujitsu. And I'm like, fucking sign me up, dude. Give me a gi. Give me a white belt. Let me see if I can figure this shit out.
Well, did you recognize the name immediately?
Yeah, because I knew his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew his name from AKK.
Yeah.
And it just, I was like, hey, it's cool that he's going to do this. I might as well, try to support him.
Was it pretty surreal for you to be training a different martial art that you were essentially, and again, we'll circle back so you can have time to talk about that you're a fucking master at what you do, but now you're a white belt in the same school that built you 23 years later.
Yeah.
Because I think they got the gym in 2023, so 23 to 25 years later.
Yeah.
What did that feel like?
I mean, it's a little weird, man. But I kind of didn't really care. Maybe a little more of the explanation would be circle back as like some sort of redemption of mine, of me being able to go back in that building and train.
Were you sad when you didn't get the building? Because we'll talk about how you did get another building just recently, but you probably were pretty gung ho at that time to get that facility.
It was more like, could we do it? Would this guy even break in any way, and see if we could maybe put together a deal? I didn't want to rent it though. I was like, I don't know how we're going to get the money, but if the dude has any interest in selling, like, we'll figure something out, and I would have been sad if it would have been turned into a fucking Jamba Juice or whatever, dude. I'd have been like, fuck, dude.
Right.
That fucking sucks, man.
Yeah.
And man, who was the fucking idiot who let that happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I look back, I would have never let that happen. Are you kidding me? It just didn't make sense to me that they closed. And I honestly didn't like them. I don't like them. Part of me's like, fuck them, dude, but I never wanted to see that place not be a martial arts school.
What don't you like about the people that own that facility?
It was, a combination of just experiences I had and how I left that organization and all that. It's just kind of, felt slighted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With the whole circumstance of all that kind of stuff, all that stuff. And, also things had changed quite a bit since I had started there and trained there, and they had changed in a way that I didn't like from a martial arts perspective, like, what are you guys doing?
What do you mean by that?
An example would be like, I remember when, it got to there was a point where like the guy who was like my original teacher, he got fired or something, or he left. He got fired over some stuff, and then, I kind of like had to start like running this school, right? It was kind of like I was the guy standing there, You know what I mean? And they were like, oh, I think you can do it. Have him do it. And so I started doing it. Well, I was like, all right, cool, man. Fuck. Let's do this, man. I was like, all right, everybody get their gloves on. Let's fucking fight. And, you know, you got like these kind of like this like culture where there's these like black belts, right? They're like, and like many of them would have like outranked me, you know what I mean? And like, and they just like didn't like, it's like they didn't want to train. Like they just wanted to kind of, you know, socialize and shit. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? I'm like, I want to, let's train, you know. And you know, some of the older guys, you know, there's definitely a group who's like, yeah, this is what we want to do, you know. Let's do this. And you know, just that kind of route in the martial arts of like being like taking all the reality out of it, taking like what, which I definitely get and have lots of respect for the use of training with motion and all that kind of stuff, but without uh without realizing what the hell you're fucking doing and why, it's kind of to me like useless time and waste of your energy.
Yeah, if you want exercise, there's plenty of opportunities to get that. One
Correct.
aspect is you're fighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of the stuff in the traditional martial arts, you know, with the forms and the way techniques are done and stuff like that. I mean, through my eyes, it's all the same as jiu-jitsu. It's no different to me. Like oh yeah, this is how a class is run. You know, you practice some technique, right, with the partner, and then you spar. That's a martial arts class to me. You know, you learn some technique, you learn how to apply it. You know, you learn some drills on how to develop it. You run those drills and you do those things, and then you fight and see if you can get any of the things that you learned to work in the fight. And you know,
Practicality and application.
practicality and application, of course. And you know, and I think it's like they would always say things like, "Oh, if you keep doing it, you'll figure it out," right? And you're like, "Okay, what do you mean? How am I supposed to figure it out?" You know, and a lot of things I never figured out. And I had, you know, when I left that organization, I ended up hooking up with this other teacher who was one of those guys from the 1970, right? Like one of the like original dudes. And you know, I worked with him for a while, and he just made me. He just like just very simplistically could like tell me and show me why everything was done, and it was so like, oh fuck, why didn't they ever tell me that?
So in 98, how long did you train there at that physical building?
It's been until about 2011, 2012, something like that.
And what were you doing for work during that time? I mean, I have to say that's specific job, but like
I worked
you
at
had
restaurants
to work.
and
Okay,
shit.
yeah.
You know, whatever.
And
I worked at a lot of restaurants. I painted for some. You know, I painted houses with a buddy. You know, just random shitty jobs.
so how long until you started thinking about opening your school?
Well, dude, I wasn't even a thinking. You know, I got kicked out. They like booted me out, bro.
Of the academy?
Yeah, dude. They like
Well,
I like
what
dishonored
happened?
I dishonored the fucking gods, man. Like it was like over some weed, dude. It was like some bullshit, bro. Like it was just I don't know. And that's part of the reason why I felt pretty fucking slighted. You know what I mean? Like all these motherfuckers be smoking weed. You know what I mean? And you're like, what are you even talking about? You know? And had like a best friend who was another another teacher at another school. Like, so he ran one of the other schools, and we had become really close friends. I considered him one of my best friends, and he just kind of just fucking, when you find out, you know what I mean? Like, he just pulled one of those, kind of little narc ass moves type of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
So someone sold you out for smoking weed at a place.
no, it wasn't as simple as that. You know what I mean? It actually, I didn't even get. It wasn't even me. I had some crazy shit happen where, so a little bit after my kids were born, so they were like still, infants, and there's this day that these dudes came up to my house, right, and they fucking, like, long story short, they tried to fucking, like, blast in the house with this fucking gun. And, I busted them out. But the babysitter, called the police or whatever. And, I don't know, so police report was made. And, a couple weeks later, I'm out of town. And then the police, like, come raid my house and find some weed. And, so it's kind of a shitty situation, That's the quick version of it. That doesn't really give you too much, but then they were just like, yeah, bro, like, sorry, fuck off.
So they had heard about that incident.
I told them.
Well, so they found out about the incident.
I mean, I told them, like, these are my friends. It's like me, like not too different than what, me and you, we train together. Fucking, we're cool, bro. Like, I wouldn't expect, we're a family. We've gone to, like, all kinds of things together. You know what I'm saying? You just wouldn't expect it. You expect them to support you and be like, oh, what can we do to help you here? Not, oh, you need to go. Like, go? What are you fucking talking about? Like, I would just it crushed me, dude. And, I was like, the fuck, man. I went to a Michael Franti concert the day that happened. Dude,
I don't even know who that is.
Some, like, fucking dude, he's like this, like, positive vibration, like, fucking kind of reggae pop dude.
He's on it.
Yeah.
I gotta see this.
So
were you in your feels?
Fuck, I was ticked, bro. I was destroyed, but we had tickets to this concert. I'm going, I'm not like a huge Michael Franti fan or anything, but, a
place where you spent 8 years of your life.
Yeah, we just fucking, blam, you're done, fuck off, and, like, nobody wanted to talk to me. I'm like, what the fuck, man? That's some fucking weed, man? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Maybe for someone who doesn't quite understand,
yeah,
it sounds...
That's Michael Franti.
Let's see, 15 years ago. I don't know if this would cheer me up at all. This is kind of sad.
Well, bro, I'll tell you this much. We go out to we're at that concert, dude, and he like walks out in the crowd, right? He always walks out in the crowd, and he'll, like, bring, like, kids and shit up on the stage and stuff. And he walks out in the crowd, bro, I shit you not. He, like, comes right up to me and he fucking touches me, dude.
Highlight of my life. I just got kicked out of my lifelong journey,
and this fucking, like, Michael Franti comes up, like, fucking touches me. I'm like, whoa, dude, that was weird. But yeah, I just was like, oh, of course I had all these students too, so there was, like, all this backlash. Nobody told them what was going on. They told them some whatever bullshit story, and they probably started saying I was, like, this bad person, and, it's just never the case. You know what I mean? Like, I never did anything I never did anything bad. You know what I mean? So,
I guess what I was going to say is for somebody that might hear this and they think this is, oh, so big whoop, there's tons of schools. Being excommunicated, and I hate, this sounds so cliche, but the time and like, sweat and tears that you put in, and the heartbreak when you get home and you got beat up all day, and then you get back there and maybe that move works. The accomplishment, the journey, the stress relief, that is a necessary part to some people's lives who go
Well,
down these paths.
and the
And to take that
community-
away from you,
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
In that way. But then also to like my students, I had developed, an entire student base by this time, where like what would it be like if, it's like Inike's gone tomorrow and they're like, everybody's like, fuck him. What are you talking about, dude? What happened? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
what do you mean?
That would be
You know?
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's like, and I had like I was like, what am I gonna do? I haven't worked at a fucking job. I don't know how.
So
I don't know
this
what
was
to
your
do.
job at
this
this point.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is what I do. I'm like, fuck. What am I gonna do now? And I guess I'm just gonna try to open a school down the street and fuck them. Fuck off. I'll just fucking open my own school, and I'll fucking tell my students I'm opening a school over here. You don't like it? And a few people came over with me, helped me set my school up, and we just went from there.
And so this was the building that you got in Waldo?
Yeah,
Okay, so what year did you get that building?
2013.
And what was the grind? That's a pretty big break between getting kicked out and getting your own school. Did you...
It's maybe only. It was only like 6.
I thought you
6
said you
months.
left in 2006. I might have misheard.
No. It was more like 2012.
Okay, all right.
It was. I don't remember exactly. I do remember I actually opened the school in like a November or something, and I would have been fired earlier that year, like in the spring. So I do remember kind of spending the summer, like I would teach some students, like, we would go train in the park and stuff like that. And then I had a buddy.
Karate in the park.
Yeah, dude. I found a spot where nobody would see us,
Had you ever owned a business before?
No.
So how was the whole process? How did you find a building? And you would have to find something that's suitable. It's not like...
I just like looked around. I looked in places, and I found this place. It's a weird ass place because it's like I don't know, it's kind of like a little office type place where it was in a neighborhood. So it's like right behind the Quick Trip in Waldo, like 2 blocks back behind it. And it was like duplex, and then the school is in it's like this one commercial space in the middle of a residential neighborhood. So it's kind of a weird location. I was like, this is kind of a cool location, like you could do this here, and there were some walls and shit in there, and I was like, do you care if we tear all these walls out so we can just have one space? And he's like, I don't care what you do to it, you want to rent it. So I fucking got some mats, tore the walls out, we set it up, and just started. I mean, it really wasn't that hard of a process,
Were you pretty anxious about it? Knowing that that's a lot of money. It's a lot of headache.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just figured this is what I'm going to do. I will figure it out.
Well, I guess you already knew you could teach. And you'd already been... vindicated's not the right word. You'd already been established as a teacher. You had a following, and now you're just taking on the business side.
Pretty much. Yeah. The full on. But, I had run the business side there too, but I was like, I'm going to do it in a way that it doesn't have to be so damn stressful. I'm going to do it in a way that isn't like just trying to fucking get money off of people.
What's the belt system in Kenpo?
It goes from, white belt, orange, purple, blue, green, brown, black.
And then are there levels of black?
Yeah.
So
very similar.
Do you still have like a person, like in like Macahone, that
Like a
can.
teacher.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have a main?
I do, yeah.
So is your school part of an organization like
No.
how Kronos? No.
No.
Um. Did you compete back in the day?
I did some kickboxing. I did a couple kickboxing fights and a bunch of tournaments and stuff like that.
Are tournaments still a thing in Kenpo? Because we
I
were
have
talking a
no
couple days
idea,
ago
dude.
about how it used to be in gymnasiums,
Yeah,
and people were
dude.
just getting flatlined
Yeah.
at 10 years old in a gymnasium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do no. I don't know of any tournaments like that. I don't ever hear about them.
Yeah.
They're just maybe not popular now. I don't know. I think kind of what killed concussions killed that. Right? You know what I mean? Like, you can't have these kids like giving each other like concussions over and over.
Right.
Just
you
can't. And so what they did was they created this like stupid point game system that is just stupid. It's like, what are you even doing here? This is not even simulating fighting. So I don't even like an old school point sparring match was like it was made to. It was kind of saying like in a fight, usually the first person who gets like the good shot in most fights, that guy's gonna win. You know what I mean? Like the first
Yeah. If they keep their head on the shoulders and you get the first advantageous strike, it's pretty easy to stay ahead as long as you have a clear head and some cardio.
So a point sparring match was kind of like that to that spot. You know what I mean? And at some point it turned into like, 'cause that's the only way you can get a point. It gotta be like a point's a point. Like that was like a fight ender. That's the point. Whereas now, or they probably went to that and it just made the tournaments maybe lame. But I haven't really seen. I can't say that for sure. I've never seen them. I don't hear about them. I think the Jiu Jitsu tournaments are better.
Yeah, it's easier though because you don't deal with the head trauma.
That's why.
Generally, 99% of the time.
There's some risk, but
yeah,
I like, especially with kids, just such a good way for them to compete. Even the student kids that I've brought to compete in jiu-jitsu tournaments, like it's like, man, they get such a great experience out of it. You have to get their ass kicked. It's like, and you understand. It's like, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Maybe it's easier for them than it is us, but if it's the same, I got some respect because that shit's hard.
How long was it at your gym? Did you start under the same name you're on now?
Yeah.
What's your gym called?
It's called Chuan Fa Academy.
Chuan Fa Academy.
Yes.
Is there any? How'd you get that name?
It is so Kenpo and Chuan Fa are the same thing. It's just the Chinese. Chuan Fa is the Chinese word. Kenpo is the Japanese word, but it's the same. It means the same thing, which just means like fist law, right? So it's kind of breaks down to just meaning just fighting. You know what I mean? It just means fighting.
How long, when you were in the building in Waldo, how long was it before you realized, like, damn, I did it? I've got a roster of students. This is my job. I own the place.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell me what to do. How long was it until that really set in?
It probably took about a year or so. I think after about a year, felt like this is sustainable. I've got pretty fairly cheap rent. Utilities aren't really that expensive. And, I think at the time, like, hell, as long as I had 30 students, I'm good.
Which is...
Right? That's easy.
Yeah.
I went from a school where I had like 130. I was like, 30? Nothing.
Did you find that the retention rate in children and younger like teenagers was easier than to. I mean, we've both seen it, dude. There's a lot of adults that come for one class or 1 week,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
you never see them again.
Man, adults are tough to keep, man.
Mm-hmm.
They are for sure. Kids are a little easier to keep. You know, probably most healthy martial arts schools gotta have as many kids as adults. You know what I mean? But I would say that the adults are always been. It's hard to keep a good adult too.
Yeah.
You know. But the ones you get to keep, dude, you gotta be grateful for them.
Yeah. It takes a village.
Yeah, it does. It does. Sometimes you get a kid and he's 15, 16 something when you get him, but by the time he's 20, he's like a resource to the school. Like you almost want to just pay him, right? If you got somebody, like, but you don't want to pay him because you ain't got no money to pay him.
Yeah.
But you wish you could. You know what I mean? You're like, man, I wish I had enough money to just pay this kid to do this.
When did you decide it was time to go to a new building? Because so you've upgraded and you found a new spot,
Yeah,
and your
so-
school continues to grow. And I just want to say, I don't know for sure, but from the outside looking in, I did have a part of the 90s karate boom. Like I used to go to the YMCA,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's almost non-existent. I mean, I can count on one hand in my adult life how many times I've met somebody who actively trains karate. It's usually I did some classes as a kid.
Yeah.
So what was going on when you said, okay, I need to upgrade my space. I need to get a different spot.
Well, my spot was kind of small. We didn't have, we had, we were like wall to wall. Boom, wall to wall. So it was like just the space in general was kind of small. It was a really cool location. It was a really unique, cool little spot. But I always kind of did want like more space, but I wasn't actively necessarily looking for it. There's the spot that I have now. So there's a coffee shop on like 44th and Troost. It's called Equal Minded Cafe. It's this cool coffee shop that I found.
Is that the one that puts all the coffee in the glass jars?
No. That's
That's by your old school, or
no. That's over there too. Like what is? I can't remember what that one's called. I don't want to shout them out, even if I think about it, because like they moved in like after my friend. You know what I mean? They were like these like bougie people that are like, we're gonna move over to Troost and take the business from you. Like, yeah. But anyway, my wife rented a office above this coffee shop, and I got to got to know the guy, and over the years we've become friends, and we did all kinds of meetings and different things around there, and he'd let me see all the building and all that stuff. There's a lot of cool little spots in the building, and he showed me this space that it used to be a daycare, right? And it was just this cool open space with no poles, which is like, there's no poles because it has one of those like metal roofs like this. So there's no poles and it's all an open space. I was like, I always said, this would be a dope place for if I can do some martial arts in here, man. We could go down. And right next to it was this pink house building that was like a cesspool of like homeless drug users and like free clothes bin, and it was just this horrible place. Okay, maybe it helps somebody. Some people would say, they're helping the homeless, but like just it was right next to this location, like right next to it. So like in order to get to it, you would have to drive down this alley. And it would, I'm like, I teach kids, man, if you guys ever get rid of that building there, man, I'll fucking move over here. I would love to have you as a landlord, because I know the whole family. These are good people. And, at the time, I'm renting from somebody I've never met. You know, you just take the check and he don't ever help me with nothing. You know, which is nice. You know, no trouble from the landlord. Write him the check. Everything's good. And you know, we kind of always joked. I was like, whenever that place burns down, because it's eventually going to burn down. The fuckers over there using crack, and it's a hoarder's paradise with like piles of clothes in there and shit. And you got crack users in there in the wintertime. You know,
the writing on the wall there is pretty clear.
I was like, it's eventually going to, it had caught fire before and they put it out or whatever. And then one day, man, bam, that thing burnt to the fucking ground. Bro, I was like the friends that I have in this group, you know, that we would talk about that building because we meet at that coffee shop. So we would always talk about that building. And I was like, you know, in the little group chat, I'm like, it wasn't me, dude. Because everybody knew that, like, I'm waiting for the, I'm in, like, hexing this fucking building. It's gonna burn. And it burnt down. And I'm like, hey, now that building's burnt down. No, actually, how it worked out is that I was like, oh, man, that'd be cool. I should move the school over there. And then just like, you know, out of nowhere, it's like I get an email from my landlord and he's like, oh, yeah, you know, your lease has been up for the past 3 or 4 months. You know, we probably want to sign a new lease. And I was like, oh, damn, my lease is up? Shit. So it was just like kind of happened like building burnt down and then my lease was up. I was like, all right, that's a sign. And it's going to be a better, you know, it's going to be a better setup, you know. And so, you know, I just told him, hold the lease. I'm out. You know, he wanted to raise my rent again anyway. And it had been 11, 12 years there. So, you know, I kind of was like, you know, I probably paid them. I bought their building twice. Right?
Yeah, right.
You know, I bought their building twice and you still didn't even give me my security deposit. Like, bro, I bought your building twice, man. What's like $1,500?
So then you move into this new building. How was the transition? Did you have to shut down the school for a little while?
About a week. About a week. It took about a week to get it like, okay, now we can have class. But then it's a work in progress.
Did you do all the work yourself?
Yeah, most of it.
Who painted those incredible pictures?
Friend of a friend. He, the guy who owns the building, his buddy wanted to put paint on a wall. He's an artist. I just want to put paint on a wall. All right, I'll buy the paint. And
are any of those photos online? I wonder if we could show
what?
them.
Oh,
of you, because there's a beautiful mural of you on the wall at your new academy.
Yeah. Oh, where there's a part of it that has me on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the middle is actually my teacher.
Okay.
And that's a picture of him back in like whatever the 70s doing, because they did their tournaments in like rings and shit. Mm-hmm. They were quite a bit different.
I don't know if you can get into Instagram, not right away, but if you can maybe work on that, I'd love to show, because this guy did is cool. Awesome. What was the guy's name that did that art?
James Spikes.
Do you know how he did it? It's not spray paint, is it?
No, it's not. He just did it with a paintbrush and rollers and shit. You know, he was a really cool artist. He came in. I showed him a bunch of pictures and stuff, you know, of, you know, just kind of the history, and told him a bunch about in Kenpo there's an animal philosophy thing that's associated with each belt, which I would have to say many people misunderstand what that means, but I can go back to that. But he kind of took in a bunch of this information. He actually talked to Gary McGee. So Gary McGee's would be my teacher in Kenpo, you know, and so he talked to him for a while, and he kind of put together. I gave him a couple pictures, and something like this. Just do, you know, come up with something cool, and that was his first thing he showed. I was like, God, all right,
nailed it.
Put it up there.
So he showed you like a rough draft.
Yeah. And then watching him put it up there was cool. The way he did it.
Ah, man, I wish you had like a time lapse
Yeah, I
video.
think he made one. I think on his YouTube. I think he made a time lapse video.
That's one of the things that makes Rudy's so incredible is the art on the wall.
Yeah.
And I know there was quite a bit of graffiti art on the old school.
Well,
And
the art that's in the front, the scribe did. That I was running the school when that. So he put this. There was a dragon on the side of that school, like old school. I believe that karate school was the first place that let him paint on the building. So I think like back in his heyday, right, which is essentially kind of my heyday too, but like the taggers, they would just like go tag places and then everybody would be mad at them. And like Scribe like went into places, was like, hey, I'm a legit artist and I want to put some beautiful art on your building. And be like, fuck you. And apparently the karate school was the first place that let him do it. And the deal was he did a dragon on the side and like a Chinese dragon, and then he could have the back and do whatever he wanted. And he could just change it and his buddies could practice back there and stuff like that. And so he later called me and was like, hey, I was thinking of redoing that dragon and my kids want to take karate. Oh, okay. Bring them on in. And he did the dragon and we taught his kids karate. And it was like a killer deal. The dragon he put on there was really dope. It was like breaking out of the yeah,
oh,
there it
nice, you
is.
found it.
Yeah, that's it.
So this is that's you down there under that. Is that a leopard?
Yeah. Yeah.
So all
So
these animals are they're part of the story for the belt system.
they're part of the story in the sense that they're attitudinal. It's so a lot of times when so it'd be like, oh, tiger style, like that looks like a tiger, right? No, it's like you would associate a tiger with like power and strength, and it's like the first level. So like when you begin to teach somebody how to fight, you need to teach them how to be a little stronger, a little tougher, right? Like they need to be able to take a hit. They need to learn how to make their wrist strong so they can punch. And so that's the first level. You kind of got to toughen up, and that's like the tiger level. And from a like fighting standpoint, it's like that's when you go straight. You know what I mean? Like you're just mow somebody over. That would be like the way it doesn't necessarily look like a tiger, like we would see in the movies. Tiger style.
Okay, and then what's from there?
Then there's the crane, which would be associated more with like balance and what is that?
Yeah, I know what you're
What
saying.
is
I
that
can't
called?
think of
I'm
that.
too stupid.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I can usually talk about it really good. Coordination, balance, and coordination. And so you have this idea. You make somebody a little stronger, a little tougher, and then have them do things that make their coordination and balance better, right? And you put those two things together. Now you've got a couple blocks of the big circle. The leopard would be associated with speed. Okay, now they're a little stronger. They're a little more balanced. Now you can be fast. You know what I mean? And then the dragon is, in a weird way, it's kind of like an extension of the leopard, and you're putting it all together, right? And then the snake indicates like techniques that would be intended to like kill or to really maim, right? Is kind of like, hey, you've learned all these basic things. Like, here's a way you can use them in an extremely mean way. So the snake just kind of just an extension that gets it meaner. And that's like really all the animals are about, right? It's more of like, in this situation, like for instance, if I'm like grappling with you, because you'll understand this, right? Like if you're applying a lot of strength and forward motion on me and like grinding, you know what I mean? Like you're just trying to fucking just blast through. Is it going to serve me best to take like a tiger, like, because that's what you're doing? Is it going to be a good idea for me to try to do that against you? No. Right? Because that's a philosophy in the fighting that you have an advantage on over me being bigger, a little bigger and stronger, and a little bit more technique as well. But if we took that out, the bigger and stronger makes it to where if I try to fight you like that, I'll probably fail, right? And so I need to figure out, can I use something else? And that's kind of like what those animals were intended. It's just a way for you to think about how to tackle a certain situation within a fight. If that makes any sense.
No, absolutely. I would have never known that.
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of people, movies and shit, man.
It's almost a
movies
philosophy.
And bullshit ass fucking like commercial ass, make a whole bunch of money, hi-ya schools, right? You know what I mean? There's some bad ones out there, bro. Like I've been around the industry. I've seen a lot of shit. I've went to like the big industry like conventions and stuff and seen what some of these play. I'm like, God damn, yeah, you got fucking 500 students. You're making like fucking making bank, dude. Driving fucking hella cool cars and shit. But I can remember being at one of these conventions and doing a seminar with Mike Winklejohn. And because he comes from AKK, if you didn't know, he was trained by Bill Packer. So before he started the Jackson Winklejohn gym, he was in the same system as me and Rudy. And so I'm doing this. He's doing a seminar, and so we're gonna go do Winklejohn's seminar, right? And I just remember like these karate guys, and like Mike Winklejohn was like, bro, he like fucking like. He just did like this little uppercut. He was like, he like puts that animal attitude. Like he's a good example if you could ever like see him fight a kickboxing fight and Mike Winklejohn, like he like those attitudinal things, like fucking Bill Packer was way into that shit and he trained him. So like I just remember he like did this just like maybe this little uppercut or just this little slight movement. And me and my friend were just like, Jesus Christ, this dude's fucking insanely good. And like there's these guys around, it's just like, well, what the fuck is that? Yeah, you're going to do that. And we know who Mike, we know a lot of history about him and like his kickboxing fights and just how much of a fucking badass that guy was. He's got fucking one eye now and shit, like
Mike Winklejohn, the guy who trains the greatest fighter of all time, John Bones Jones. Wow.
So there's a lineage connection right there. Like his striking was rooted in that Kenpo, right? And so I always thought that was really fucking cool that he like went off and like started that gym and like had that fucking level of success,
Where was that seminar at?
Las Vegas. Yeah. It was the Maya Super Show or MAIA Super Show. It was Century Martial Arts. We did a lot of business with Century Martial Arts for like, bags and gis and stuff like that. And if you buy enough shit, like you get hooked up when you go out to the Super Show. So we always got out there.
How many forms of karate are there?
Oh, I have no fucking idea, dude.
But there's quite a few.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like, I know about what I know about, which is the one that I've done, and then I never really looked into anything else.
What's the origins of Kenpo?
It comes from Okinawa. It comes from Okinawa. There was like a guy, his name was like Choki Matobu, right? He's like this old, like super short, like Okinawan badass from like the 1800s, right? And he, okay, so karate back then, right? Like they always say like, oh, it's like for the poor people, but it's like, no, the poor people, they're working. Fucking karate. Like, it's like the sons of like rich ass fucking monarchs and shit doing karate, right? Well, and that's why like every family they would like have like a style or whatever, right? And if you were like the firstborn son, like you would like inherit the style. But if you were like the second born son or third or whatever, I think they would just be like, all right, well you go and find your own way. And legend has it, I don't know, this is what I've been taught. He goes to China and trains with some Chinese martial arts people, and he comes back to Okinawa and like starts beating everybody's ass. And I think he teaches a guy who brings it to Hawaii, and then a guy from Hawaii brings it to America, and that's how it made it here. So it's got kind of cultural, it's got some cultural history and lineage from each place that it went. But that's where Kenpo comes from, as we know it.
What's the deal with the karate schools that do the tests with breaking the boards and those kind of things?
I have no idea.
Well,
bro, I don't know. Maybe it's have you ever broke a board?
No, not one of those
Neither
boards.
have I don't know.
I mean,
maybe it's fucking cool.
I've broken some broom handles.
Maybe like
fucked my shins up.
Maybe if you break one of those boards, you feel really fucking cool.
But those schools use that as tests.
So, I mean, my guess would be it might help build confidence. Especially with some kid like, oh, I broke a board.
It's not something you do at your school.
No. To be honest, like, that's probably why I would liked doing jiu-jitsu because that's the way the class was run. This is exactly how I run class. I'm like, oh, it's like taking my own class. This is exactly the way I would do it, so I'm just like that. So that's pretty much how the experience would be. You would, you learn technique, you learn things about how to fight, and then you try to fight with them, see if you can get it to work.
Did your parents ever do any martial arts?
Nah.
No,
but I heard my grandfather he got in a lot of trouble back in the Navy, like starting bar fights and shit. Yeah, dude. My grandfather was at Pearl Harbor. For sure, dude. He was at Pearl Harbor, and after like my grandparents had died, they were looking through all this shit, and they like found he got all kinds of trouble for bar fighting. I was like, Grandpa was a bar fighter in the Navy? And then I kind of remember like, maybe a few years ago, like kind of it clicking, and I was like, oh damn, maybe that's why I like fighting so much.
Just an intrinsic.
Yeah. It skipped my dad. He does. He's an athlete, but like he don't want to fight nobody.
Did your parents ever give you any pushback to be what you're doing now?
No.
I mean, you have a very, very gifted, unique opportunity to do what most people who are involved in martial arts dream about doing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I do. Fuck yeah, I know that.
Did you ever struggle with any... I'm trying to think of the term. It's just smoked me. Like imposter syndrome? Did you ever deal with any of that?
Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, definitely. I mean, don't we always deal with that, dude?
I think most humble people do. But it takes an exorbitant amount of confidence to put every foot forward, one after the other.
Yeah, man. I definitely have felt that for sure. but at the same time, I'm like, what else? Why? What else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking work for some asshole.
I mean, there are ever times where you wake up and you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
I'll tell you, I don't have a lot of days like the way I've set my school up. One, like I like everybody that I train. Like I don't have to like I just am myself, right? And if you don't want to fucking hang out with me, like you're just not gonna train there. If that makes any sense, you know what I mean? Where like, you put a lot more like you got to be like a big huge school and like have all this money. Like you can't be yourself, bro. There's not that many people that want to hang out with any of us. Let's be real,
When was the hardest time for you to get students?
I mean, right at the beginning. Like, because you got like 4 or 5. You're like, all right, this isn't going to pay the bill. We got to get it up to 20.
Yeah.
Somehow. Back then, like, fuck, man, we like made flyers and shit. We go up to the mall at Ward Parkway, put them on everybody's car and shit. Dude, I got a couple people off that too, man. I got this dude, this guy was crazy, man. He came in, he was like, yeah, I was a backyard wrestler in Minnesota. All right, dude, whatever, man. Like, let's go. And like, we do some technique and then we go to sparring and I could tell he was going to be a little wily, so I didn't let him spar with anybody else, like, all right, I'll take you first. Usually you would make him go to you last, like I've earned this. You fucking people wear this new guy out and then I'll kick it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But this guy was like, I don't know, you might hurt somebody. Backyard wrestler. I don't know what that means. Could mean something. I don't fucking know.
I've never heard of that, but I'm not going to risk it on this 16-year-old.
He was a big dude, though. No, he was like, this dude had been like, 230, bro. He was not I'm small, he was a big guy. But, you see him move a little bit and you're like, all right, he's probably not going to get in on me. He doesn't move very well. And, man, he'd come after me, dude. He's trying to grab me, just anything he could. He's swinging hard. I had to hit him hard. You know what I mean? Sometimes I had to hit him a lot harder than I wanted to. You know what I mean? And fucking, it kind of put him down pretty humbly, if you will. And though I haven't got a lot of those guys, but that fucking shit feels good. Some big ass motherfucker calls you out and you're just like, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude. Like,
and for there to be no asterisks, like I always love when a new guy gets worn out and then he tries to do the same thing to me. But not only does he have an unrealistic expectation of what he was going to do that day or that class, but he also just got worn out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to talk about one thing that it surprised me, but obviously I knew nothing about what you do over there until I asked, but you have a more practical teachings. You also do grappling at your school.
Yeah, for sure.
So how did you start integrating realistic fighting, and did anybody ever look down on you like, that's not Kenpo, man, we're doing striking, we're breaking boards, we're doing this shit, we're doing the ABC stuff that we've seen in movies since the early 90s when it was really popular? When did you make the decision to say, fuck that, we're going to train actual fighting here? Because you would agree that there's a big stigma on Taekwondo and karate that it's not real, this would never work. And I can say firsthand, just messing around with you at the gym, it's crazy the levels to it. Like your sight, your distance control, things like that, and your technique. I mean, it's real fighting, and you can really hurt somebody.
That's how we were always taught. So, I mean, I didn't know any different than that's how you did it, So, the way we would spar back then was just be kickboxing. We just put the fucking gloves on and just bite your mouthpiece and go.
So how much was focused on the technique of traditional Kenpo techniques as opposed to just kickboxing?
So the first, I would say the first round I did to go through the system of techniques and all that kind of stuff, it was all kind of just shit you did. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you just did this shit and then we got to spar, right? It took until somebody laid out to me what all that shit meant for me to realize, like, oh, fuck. Wow, this stuff actually makes a lot of sense. You know, when you explain to me, why do you do this? Oh, you're trying to develop this thing. You know, I'm trying to be vague, but you know, like, why would I practice doing this stupid thing? Oh, because it helps you to develop this particular throw or this particular whatever it is that you're trying to, that it's intended for. Um, oh, damn. I see. It's not it doesn't look. A good example would be like, like you're like doing like arm bars, right? So we're like, oh, we're gonna do 10 arm bars from guard, right? We just do the arm. Man, you ain't never get no damn arm bar like that. You know damn well. You know what I mean? But what it is that you're practicing is the mechanics of your own body to get in position and to do it. So when you are in a live situation, you develop those mechanics kind of slowly. And so a Kenpo technique is the same thing. You're trying to develop a certain mechanic or a certain reaction that would apply in a real fight. Um, but just like that, it doesn't look the same. I never, hardly ever see an armbar where somebody's like, burk, burk,
Yeah.
burk. Like lift the leg, rise the leg, and it just never works like that. You know what I mean? But you have to learn that in order for it to get it to work any other way. So it's very similar. That's something I like. Probably another thing that like kept me wanting to keep doing jiu-jitsu as well was, this is just the same shit but on the ground. So it's cool. It's like the same martial art, except, maybe it's a little more, could be a little more sport orientated, at its core. But me as a self-defense teacher, like I seep right past that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is a cool sport, but you can fuck motherfuckers up with this shit. You know what I mean? Like we all know how to use our elbows and our hands and in all different kinds of ways, but also knowing the mechanics and the different ways you can control somebody in jiu-jitsu is a pretty good companion, especially if you can stand up and fight too.
How much did your training that you teach and you lead, how much did that change once you got pretty deep into jiu-jitsu? How much of that did you bring over? Because it's not a jiu-jitsu school, but
No.
you are a practical fighting, a practical self-defense with some Kenpo basis.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you bring over? And how did you decide where the cutoff was going to be of what I'm going to instruct as far as jiu-jitsu here?
There's really no cutoff. I just added a class. We're gonna do a jiu-jitsu class. You want to show up to it? It's just because I want to. It really is just because I want more practice. You know what I mean? Like, I use you guys to practice too. Anybody want to learn? I'll teach you everything I know. I don't care. So it just kind of started like that, And then I got a few guys that have always continually trained and done it with me, and they've gotten pretty good. And now it's hard to beat them. So it's another thing I always tell, particularly with kids, like the good ones, the ones that are good. I'm like, man, I've done this like 30 times. You have to make your opponent because everybody else sucks. You got to make them good so they can test you. And that's just how it is. Because if you're the person that's there every day, nobody's going to be there. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's the people you start with are gone. So you kind of have to like continually make people who test your ability to do what you do. So you give everything you can to get them to get really good so they can beat you. that's, the, that's the way I look at teaching martial arts. You know, like if they can beat my ass, I've done my job.
Yeah, development leads to accountability.
Yeah, Bob,
Yeah. Oh man,
bro,
Bob's incredible.
he was just
He's also so naturally gifted
that
athletically.
that kid was
Strength.
he told me he was a so when I started working with Gary McGee, he had his own school, and he had a few black belts, just kind of these old school dudes, and Bob was the nephew of one of his black belts. And at some point, we just decided, like, I just got to take them, or they just all came over to my school. We're like, yeah, what are we doing having two different schools? He's kind of doesn't want to necessarily teach anymore. He never really. It was kind of a hobby for him, but he was also like definitely an Inike level master. His understanding of this shit is just insane. And I'm like, fuck, you guys definitely, this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna get to inherit a couple like really experienced dudes to be around and like help me and test me too, and Bob comes in one day and he's just excited that there's other kids there because
How old was Bob at this time when he first?
12.
Whoa, he's 20 now.
It's like 22 or something now. So he comes in. He just has this long conversation with me, like an adult. He's kind of like Tori. You're like, damn, man, you're like way past your age, in the way. So he just has this. He says he wants to be an MMA fighter. He wants to learn this and this, and you're like, yeah, whatever. I heard this shit.
Heard
before.
this before.
Yeah, you're gonna be an MMA fighter, right? We'll see. Cool, and man, that kid shows up every class, right? Every class, he's always there. And then every day after class, he's like, "Hey, man, what can I do to be better?" Every day, let's spar. I'd spar him for we had just these long sparring matches. Everybody's gone, and we just keep going and keep going and keep going. And for years, he just he just started getting good around 15, 16. You're like, God damn it, this fucking kid.
Damn, I did my job.
Fuck. And he just has no control.
Yeah.
So you're like, fuck, dude, you gotta really be on your shit to spar him, or he's gonna hurt you because he doesn't know how to control his shit. He's way better controlling now, but because he's gotten older.
Does Bob still train with you?
No.
So
no, I mean, he'll show up here and there. He'll show up sometime on a Friday night. Strap the gloves on and spar with all of us and stuff like that.
Do you still corner Bob?
No.
But you did initially.
I did initially.
Fights.
It was kind of like Inike wanted that. He was like, Chris should corner him. Whatever. I was like, I'll do it. I don't care. It's not. I've done that before many times, so it's fine. But there was a little bit of I felt like they were kind of trying to honor me a little bit. I was obliged to do that. And with Mike, we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Over all those years, different things, and just hardships on his end, and just things that we kind of had a love-hate relationship for a while as well. So it was like,
What did it feel like that you've had a 12-year-old kid and you've trained him up into this? I mean, he's legitimately a world beater. He's so special. What did it feel like to be able to walk him out in the Cable Dahmer arena?
Bro, it was like, you know what? It made me think of that 12-year-old kid telling me he wanted to be an MMA fighter. I was like, damn, this motherfucker did it.
Did it pull on your heartstrings a little
oh
bit?
yeah, dude. Yeah, no. Every time I've seen him fight, it definitely does. Just because I know a lot about him growing up and things that has happened to him, and just how just so much respect for him. You know what I mean? Like how he handled shit that I wouldn't even understand how to try to handle at his age, and like still just grinding it and being a cool kid. He only spent like maybe a year where he was a little bitch ass kid. You know what I mean? Like maybe when his hormones were settling, he was kind of a little fucker.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's always been like the coolest kid. Like even when he was 12, 13, 14, like he could just train with him. He is a fun kid to train with, man. I'll tell you that.
So I want to talk about how cool your other business is, especially the placement. But I wanted to segue first into do do you fear that you're going to run out of people and you're going to have to eventually transition to be an MMA school?
No.
You think there'll be enough people that want to say they do Kenpo Karate?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I don't know much about.
I mean, to
So
me, I guess I could be looking through it through the eyes of just a martial artist. Like, man, I don't really give a shit what the style is or what it's called. I could, it could be any of them. It's just look at how they train for 10 minutes, and you'll know if you're gonna get some shit there. Cause like there's, plenty of pretty fucking good fighters that came out of traditional, martial arts, taekwondo and karate and whatever,
wrestling.
wrestling. Yeah, it's just, I feel like it's more about the training than it is about what it is you're training. Because all these things work. I mean, a kick is a kick, a punch is a punch. They don't really deviate throughout the styles, you know. So, are you developing practical movement, practical instinct, stuff like that? You can do that with a multitude of styles for sure.
How many of your students have aspirations to fight mixed martial arts?
Not many.
Not many.
No. We've done a few over the years when somebody wants to give it a shot. But
what kind of discussion would you have with someone that maybe has trained with you for a few years and wants to get into mixed martial arts?
I would.
Would you send them elsewhere?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, shit. I mean, Bob's the example right there. I was like, after he got, I think he got to like a green belt or a brown belt. He went to do some boxing. It was like, go do boxing, go box, and he learned to box a little bit, right? And he came when he came back. This was kind of cool. He came back. I'd already been doing jiu-jitsu for a while, and so we hadn't sparred in a while, but he'd been boxing. So I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what kind of boxing he's got. Let's see what you got, motherfucker. And we're going at it. I throw up a kick. He catches it. He fucking clean sweeps my fucking plant leg, dude. Like, just fucking takes it out, bro. And but I just dragged his ass down, fucking triangle choked him or some shit. I can't remember. I just fucked him up quick, right? And he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, now you gotta learn jiu-jitsu, dude. Like, you can box, you can kick, you've got a striking base that's really solid. Now you gotta learn how to go fucking fight on the ground. Go over here, because this is where I've been going. I go learn over here, so you should go. Motherfucker showed up. I knew that it would be a perfect fit too. Also, you know what I mean? I was like, this would be a good place for him. He'd go hang out with those MMA fighters. He's gonna be, in his element. I feel like he is. He's good.
Okay, so your other business, you essentially won the lottery.
Yes. So here's the funny thing about how the two tie in. That arrest that ended up getting me kicked out of the organization was what made me even qualify to put in an application. So in case you don't know, it's like, so the way when we passed the medical.
Yeah, tell people what we're talking about.
We're talking about the Missouri marijuana dispensaries and grows and all that. The marijuana program. I don't really know what they call it, but so when we passed the medical, you had to have, you had to get your medical license or whatever, and then the next step would have been they passed the recreational one. If you remember, we voted on that. You live in Missouri, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you voted on the recreational. Well, part of that, they added what's called a micro license, and it's supposed to be a social equity license. So there's certain things. The idea behind the program was to offer opportunity to regular Missourians to enter the industry in this micro license market, if you will. And
because all the big names basically had a stranglehold to to operate
to even get in I think the medical, to get the license to begin with, like what they call now comprehensive license. I mean, I think you had to be balling, dude. Like we had nobody like us would have a chance, like
Joe Schmo who saved some money back. He wasn't going to be
corporate.
able to.
It's all corporate, like most of it is very corporate. I mean, there's of course a few here and there that they may have let slip in that weren't like super corporate, but those people were already balling, like it's something that regular people weren't able to get into. And so part of the bill that we got with the recreation was this micro license thing. And how it was going to be is we're going to do a lottery. You put in an application fees like $1,500. I like to grow. I'm a grower, and actually,
not a shower.
Grower, not a shower. Me and Daniel, we grew together, right? And so we originally I was going after to get a manufacturing license, so you could grow and then sell to the dispensaries. And at the first round we didn't get picked. Whatever. Okay.
How long after they did the first? How long after recreational did they have the first raffle? And how many people did they select?
It could have been, man. I don't know. I do know that it's 2 in District 5, so it was 2 dispensaries in District 5, which is our district, and then I believe 4 grows. So, the second round came. And at the last minute, it's kind of weird. We weren't even sure if we were gonna do another application because, what are the fucking odds?
Yeah, $1,500, dude.
Yeah. Well, you get paid back if you don't get picked.
Oh, okay.
So and at the last minute, I was like, you know what? Because my wife's name was as a dispensary and my name was as the grow. So we had 2 separate applications because of when you're married. If one qualifies both or whatever, the thing that made us qualify was the charge for getting busted with weed.
That made you qualified?
Yeah, that's what made us qualify. That. Well, it's like I said, it's a social equity license. It's supposed to pay back people they fucked over. They fucked us over, bro. Like, they really did. Like, it was some bullshit. We got totally screwed, and it took like 5 years out of our life. You know what I mean? Like, just fighting this shit and fucking
petty marijuana charges.
Petty marijuana charge, dude. Like, we're not talking about a fucking 100 pounds of weed and a fucking, AK-47 with some fucking just some fucking people with some weed. Come on. And but that made us qualify. And so, we put in the first one. It didn't make it. The second one came around. We were like, yeah. I was like, you know what? Put mine in as a dispensary. Fuck it. It's better to have two things in one lottery than one in two different lotteries, right?
And so when do you think you put those applications?
It was like the last fucking day.
How long ago was this, though?
18 months ago, something like that.
Okay.
And then they get called out that second round, and they picked my name first.
Wow. And
Fucking first.
I think you said, I don't want to misquote you, but I think you said, they might have it here, they were going to... Okay, so there was 105 licenses issued to lottery winners. A Missouri marijuana micro business license.
Yes.
Awarded through a lottery system as mandated by Article, whatever that is, XIV. So 4 plus an X, who knows? As of January 2026, 2 rounds were completed. So you said that you were the second round, and so you were one of the lucky people that 105 licenses were issued.
Yes.
I would like to know how many total people applied, because I bet it was thousands.
It had to
It was
be.
probably, it could have been upwards of 10,000.
Who fucking knows?
And
dude?
so you're the first one to get selected?
Yes. Number 1.
Whoa. So do you get a letter? Do you get a phone call, an email?
No, they just, well, yeah, I've got all that. But they posted. That's how I found out. They posted the draw, and I don't think I noticed. I think my wife, she's like, check it.
And how many months had elapsed between the end of the application period and you?
Maybe like 6 months or something.
That's a long
I can't
wait.
remember. 3 months. Hard to remember.
Yeah.
But
Did someone tell you that because of that charge, that would make you more qualified? Or did you
No,
read that
we
somewhere? Yeah, how did you find that out?
my wife knows that shit. She's smart.
So she had done some research, and she
Yeah.
found out that some people who had been mistreated through the law were going to get some
It
extra
was
credit.
one of the ways to qualify to apply.
Okay.
That was one. One is you're a veteran. There was different qualifications. I think you had to make, you couldn't make over a certain amount of money or be worth a certain amount of money. They didn't want any big, huge. They wanted it to be a bunch of mom and pops.
So there was 3,708 submissions. They picked 105 people, and you were one of those.
Yeah.
So you literally won the lottery.
Oh, totally.
Dude. Yeah.
Totally.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, totally. Won the lottery.
So she had looked that up. She found out that could
But we
actually
were
help you
qualified.
guys.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, give us a chance,
Yep.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's try it. We got busted for fucking weed. Wouldn't it be cool if they gave us a license to sell weed? Wouldn't that be cool, man?
It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
I would almost feel the injustice was negated.
I mean, the postcard, if we, once we finally get everything open, making a postcard to send to that prosecuting attorney might be on. You just fucking, you did us a favor.
Yeah. Here's a Christmas card.
Yeah, here's a Christmas card, of us selling our first fucking joint.
Okay, so you get selected. What were the next steps you had to take?
Oh fuck, dude. We had to figure out. Well, you have to go through some vetting with the state to make sure you're actually qualified, to make sure you don't have any felonies that would make you not qualify. I had to do FBI prints and all that shit. I had to go through a bunch of stuff with them to then they're like, okay, boom, and then I got actually issued a license. There's they don't send you anything. It's just in an email, but so then you've got the license, and then the next step was, where the fuck are we gonna do it? We gotta find the address that you use to put on your application, just an address, to put an address in there. because you're not gonna rent a or whatever, start building a building on the off chance that you're one of 3,760 people or whatever. So we got to figure out where we're gonna put it, how we're gonna pay for it. We're gonna have to. It's crazy because we can only buy weed from the other micro growers, so it's not like we can buy the weed that currently.
Did your wife get the grow then because you got selected?
No. We both tried for the dispensary
This time on the second round.
Yes.
Okay.
Now that I got the license, I'm kind of like out. I can't actually try to get a grow now, but she can.
What would you have preferred? If you
I would have. Well, no, I am a grower, but my wife wanted a dispensary, and really the reason why I switched and said fucking don't do the grows because She needed to go to a different job. She needed, the work that she did is she worked with like the death penalty and some, real heavy ass shit. And, she's like real like smart, go-getter, like high college educated, ran a nonprofit and, fucking, pulled in hella money, damn, I'm pulling money for us, but
she was the breadwinner.
No, I mean like for
pulled it in. I'm
like
sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Like, well, that too, but yeah,
she went out and hustled.
Yeah, if it wasn't for her, a
Yeah.
lot of things don't work out for me if it's not for having like that kind of a wife. You know what I mean? So, but she, where was I going with that?
So you got pulled. You got the dispensary license, and now you had to start searching for a property.
Yeah, I dropped the idea of the grow because that's why I was saying it's better to have two, and let's do the one that she wants to do. I'm a grower. I love growing weed, man. I've done it for a long time. It's something that I like to do, but and I could do a grow. It would be great, but even looking back, man, that costs a lot more to start. So
yeah,
it's probably better I think the dispensary side is better. But yeah, so we got picked. Fucking my name got picked. So we're like, all right, we gotta figure out how to do this. We have to find a spot. We had an investor, and we got this plan to build this really cool building. Where are we at? We're at West Bottom. It's like City Market area. And it's like legit plans, like way above my business savvy to like put this like project together. And it was legit. And they were like, oh, we don't think it can make it past the boards. And, and it would have been a beautiful looking building too. It would have been, for the spot location it would have looked so fucking cool. But it would have costed like $1 million. And, when I moved over to my spot, the school, so part of I have my space for the school, and then there's this other like separate, I don't know why they wanted to do this. They're just like, we want the person to have both of these spots. I'm like, but the price is the same. I'm not like raising my rent from where I was, and there's this other spot
attached to your.
It's not attached. No, it's a completely other fucking spot. And there's no attachment.
Other than it's associated under the same ownership.
Yeah, it's in the same building, but it's not attached. And like, I don't know, I'll figure something to do with it. Maybe I thought at one point I was like, man, I'm gonna start a martial arts supply store, sell gis out of this son of a bitch, like, but after that fell through with this building that we were gonna do, I was like, hey, what if we just put it right here? Like, I already have the spot. We don't gotta build anything. We don't gotta rent it. I'm already renting it. Like, and there's nothing around here, and it's going to cost 75% less.
Yeah.
Um, let's try it, And so, I mean, it's actually not even 100% yet because we're still waiting for the final approval for that location.
Yeah, so take me through that. So then you have the building. Do you have a time constraint to where
Yes,
you have to be up and running?
yes, there is a deadline in July of this year. So I got to be up by July this year. And
How long ago have you filed for approval for that spot? And what were the constraints?
it was
Did you
like
have
December 11th.
do you have to have certain type of doors, certain type of security?
Oh fuck, dude. Yeah, you gotta have all that shit. Everything. Have you been into a dispensary?
Oh, I'm sure.
Same. It's
Yeah.
the same rules. There's no rules any different than the ones that are currently around.
So, you didn't have to do the infrastructure, but how much remodeling did you have to do to make that spot work?
We haven't. It's like I said, we're still waiting for the approval, so we haven't even started the remodeling yet. But it's just an empty shell, so there's not much remodeling to be done.
Yeah.
In the end, we've got to build a couple walls, set up the cameras, do some doors.
How long have you been waiting for them to approve this spot so you can start making headway?
I think it was December 11th was the last time we sent something back to them that we had to fix. So it was it's been about 6 or 7 weeks.
And what are they requesting?
No, there's nothing. We're just waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they requested a couple things, just like, oh, what is this on the drawing? Oh, I had to fix. You know what I mean? Like little, like nothing big. It's just little, like, mistype something or whatever. Fix. Oh, the number on the address was wrong. Just little things. And we're just waiting. So hopefully, all this comes to fruition. But I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. And from what we've heard, it takes around 30 days from the last time you fixed something or whatever. And it's been 30 days.
So within the next few weeks, you could be hearing,
yeah.
But you have time, and
Yes.
this will make it that your school that you've worked your lifetime to build is going to be right next to your second business.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of behind it. So the school would sit behind it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was an interesting combination there.
But what a dream situation.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking
sometimes
cool.
things just happen.
Yeah.
And they're unexplainable.
Yeah. Well, now there's a lot right next door where that building burnt down from. And I want it.
Yeah.
So put it out there, give me the lot.
Do you feel like an incredible amount of gratefulness that, things have worked out this way? I mean, it seems like you
100%. I mean, the sacrifices you make for doing what I do. I mean, I don't make a ton of money. I ain't got a lot of money. I know people work a lot harder than me, and they got a lot more shit than me. But I'm happy just being able to do shit I like to do, and figuring it out.
I mean, it's literally the American dream, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I got kids. You'd love to give them everything you can. You know what I mean? But in the end, a bunch of crap ain't gonna do shit. Happy parents will probably do a lot more than, crap.
Yeah.
Stuff.
You have to buy your marijuana from a microdispensary or a micro grow because
Yes.
you're a microdispensary.
Correct.
Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Well, it is. So the license polls or whatever, the lottery, you could either have applied for a dispensary or to be a grow, right? And so it's its own market. It's like we can only deal with us, and we're not able to buy from Vibe, if you will. We can't buy their stuff. Now I'm sure Vibe or those people are all pros, bro. They'll find a way. They'll find a way to get their.
To have like a sub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure. You know how they do it. They'll
Yeah.
find a way to screw it up, but take the micro out of it.
What I keep using this word constraints, but what constraints did they put on your dispensary? Is there a certain amount of product that you're allowed to have on hand?
There's no constraints on the dispensary.
So you can have as much product as you need.
As much as I can buy, as much as they can produce.
Do you still?
Now the grows have constraints on how many flowering plants they can have. So that could in turn, depending on how efficient they are with what they're doing, that could in turn, hopefully it doesn't, but it might make certain things more scarce than others. I don't know how that's going to.
Are you allowed to buy from all micro grows?
Yeah.
So product line for them might be an issue, but not for you. You've got options.
No, I could go to somebody else.
Are you still working with an investor?
Yes.
How often do you do back end work for this business? How much of your time does it take up?
Not a lot. My wife does most all of that.
Does she spend a lot of time? Is she constantly having to talk to the investor and update them?
No. It's not really. No, there's not a lot. Not a lot that needs to be done with that. Like, we've already gotten through almost all of that kind of stuff anyway. So,
how do you get an investor for something like this? Is it someone that's already been in that type of industry?
You know what? It was a guy I know who was a lawyer. He was like, "Hey, a guy that I know, like, you guys would probably jive, like, and it's somebody who could help you a lot doing this particular thing. If you're interested in applying, we'll help you out. I'll help you out." And he's a friend of mine that I'd known for a while. It's weird. I didn't know he was that kind of lawyer. I knew he was a lawyer, and we had never gotten into, the weeds on what kind of law he does, but he hooked me and this guy up, and we were like, it kind of jived a little bit, and so we're like, all right, let's try it. Fuck it.
Will the investor eventually be phased out? Or does he have some type of stake where he gets a percentage no matter how long the business runs?
Yes. We work out things like that with a little bit of a percentage, but it's not all of that is all done yet, like completely done. But yeah, you're gonna need to give up a little bit of a percentage to get some help of that level, if you will.
Yeah.
But it makes it to where your success is a lot.
After you get approved on this building, how long can it be, or how long will it be until you're able to start running the business?
Well, we need to build it out to specification, which I'm going to guess 3 months.
Will you be doing that yourself?
No. That'll all be contracted out. Yeah, most all of that we're going to try to contract out with people who know what they're doing with, because the next step, once you got it built out, you have to be inspected by the state. And I don't want to not pass that inspection, because then who knows when I can get them back. You know what I mean? Like, it's you will say, "Hey, I'm ready to be inspected," and then they're like, "Okay, we'll let you know."
Yeah. Well, I've dealt with Missouri for licenses before.
All right, well, you'll let me know. Who knows? I don't know. They could fucking 3 months later be like, "All right, well, we'll be there in a month." Like, fuck you, dude.
And now it's June.
Yeah, it's like, I'm fucking paying rent, dude. We're paying rent on this place. Get the fuck over here. So I don't want them to come, and I want it to be legit.
Is your investor, is he full on the whole project for money and monetary resource, or is he only going to be there to help with the supply and stocking you guys? Will he help with the contractors?
Yeah.
So he's full in.
Yeah, I mean, and I think his involvement in the program is very earnestly to give back. This is somebody who's I feel like, to a certain extent. I mean, everybody's out for their own shit. You know what I mean? To a certain extent, but it's not like some sort of weird corporate investment of some.
There's good people in business.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like it's a pretty down person, and we've it feels like there's no, from his perspective, there's no reason to do it unless you just like want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure, yeah, there's gonna be money to be made, but like for somebody at this level, it's like, there's way easier ways to make money than this.
Where do your aspirations end?
End?
Yeah. Do you see yourself maybe having building a second dispensary? Do you plan on applying? Like, if this one goes smooth,
that would be cool. I mean,
do micros have the ability to chain? Like,
no.
So you would have to have a separate.
But if the state decides to open up any more comprehensive licenses, the micro licenses get first pick or first look, if you will. So if we could be open, be somewhat successful, if that opportunity came up and we're able to convert our license to a comprehensive license, well, now you're talking about the license itself worth millions and millions of dollars. So there could be a good payout in the end.
Yeah.
Or there could just be good steady stream of income. We'll have to work hard for it, but it's like, what the worst ways to work for money than weed.
You train every single day. You train at your school.
I do, yes.
And then you go over and you train jiu-jitsu every single day.
I do.
I mean, I guess other than Sundays, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I do, man. I don't know.
How do you keep up?
I have no idea, dude. I just do it. You just fucking, if you want to get good at something, you should do it every day.
Yeah.
Do
you get as much enjoyment out of it now than you always have?
Yeah.
Does it ever feel like a grind?
Does it? Sometimes, but not really, man. Not really. I mean, at this point, I'm just happy to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Most people, 47 years old, not doing jiu-jitsu every day and then going and fucking teaching a bunch of kids and then fighting a bunch of crazy karate people. 47 years old.
So, you just got your purple belt.
Yeah, man.
How long have you been training jiu-jitsu?
When did that school open?
Probably 2023, 2022.
I was the first student to sign up.
Wow. So you're a lifelong karate teacher, student, and now you're going to be on a lifelong journey for jiu-jitsu.
Probably.
And you're literally halfway there to the black belt.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, man. I just like doing it. What I really loved about going in there was, especially being a white belt, was like, dude, I get to be a white belt again.
Yeah.
Because like you've been around for so long, and you just like done this shit for so long. It's like you kind of forget that that like nervousness. Like everybody respects you and like, don't want to mess with him, and you're like, come on, bro. Like, it's not like that. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. But to be able to like go back and not. Nobody cares who the fuck you are. You just go in there and nobody knows what I do. People do now. I've been around long enough. You talk to me and figure out what I do and shit. But like, nobody really knows. It's just I got to put on a white belt and just be like a beginner, and it was pretty cool.
Dude, you're one of the most incredible people I've ever met, and I don't say that lightly. Dude, I would have never guessed. You're so humble. I would have never guessed that you've been doing karate for 20 years. I would have never guessed that you're a black belt. I would have never guessed how serious you take that. But when I got to talk to you and know you over the last 4 to 5 years, it's really, dude, I feel so grateful to know you and to see you. I have jealousy in the best way possible. Dude, you're running a marijuana business, you're running a school, and every day you just get to do what you love, and you sound grateful and you sound really happy. And I just want to say congratulations on your purple belt, man. I don't think people realize how hard that is to get. I see so many people quit right before their blue belt and never come back, and then if they do get their blue belt, that step from blue to purple, it takes an amount of dedication just on hours alone, and learning and watching videos and being active, and you're always at the tournaments supporting people. And man, I just want to say thank you for taking this opportunity to talk to me. It means a lot, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking cool, man. I appreciate you guys too. You guys were all the dudes over there were always pretty cool with me right away. You know.
It's an amazing place.
Ralph.
Yeah.
That motherfucker.
Badass.
He that's how he's the one that nicknamed me Master Splinter. For that shit. He's like, me and Rudy are fucking rolling one day, and in the middle of rolling's like, Rudy's like, hey man, so Ralph came up with a nickname for you. Like, and like we're like trying to like vying for fucking like trying to get my grips and shit. Oh yeah, what is it? He like pauses and shit. Master Splinter. Bro, I laughed so hard, dude. At first I was like, man, what the fuck, bro? Master Splinter? What do you call me, like a rat or something? I was just, I didn't take it. And then and Ralph was like, oh, it's because you're an old school karate master. And I was like, what? No, I'm not.
But you are now.
And it was just kind of funny where I was like, oh, so this kid, I mean, it's like this guy, I remember being that guy too. And there'd be this older guy, it's like, oh, you've been doing this for fucking 20 years? You gotta be a master. Like, yeah.
It's kind of weird for you to hear those words, huh?
That's stupid.
A little bit of age dysphoria.
If somebody, yeah, a little bit. Well, the only person that ever said anything about my age was that one kid that I fucked up.
Don't forget the kid you tuned up on Ramadan. All right, dude, let's bring this shit home.
Man.
Hey, dude, thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you,
serious, man. I appreciate you spending the time.
Yeah, man.
Thanks,
great.
dude.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
You too, brother.
Yeah, dude.
Generate by AI.